Check. 1, 2.
The D. Brief. This is the D Brief.
Go. Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's arts
and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Hello and welcome to the Debrief for Tuesday, October 30th. I am your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
And I'm Becky Scarcello.
And we've got a lot on today's show. First of all, you and I did a live show.
We did.
Last week. Remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday.
It seems like a million years ago.
It was great. I liked the feel of the audience and being up there on stage. I could get used to that.
We got invited to open for Stacking Benjamins. This financial advice podcast brought us out, did a live show at Go Comedy, sold out, 100 seats.
Yeah, packed. There's a couple of people standing even.
Mm-hmm. Shannon Kaysen was there.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful storytellers, done things like The Moth, and he's done Snap Judgment, and he's got his own show that he does with WBEZ in Chicago, and a couple of podcasts going there. So we'll have him on as a guest soon because he was absolutely fantastic.
We have to have him on, yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to give a big shout out to those guys and thank them for.
They were so gracious and so fun, and wow, they run a awesome production. We learned a lot. It was great.
So I think we should do more.
Yeah,
you?
I do too.
All right. Well, I guess this is time to announce then on November 12th, we're going to be doing our own live show.
Just us.
It's going to be at Eastern Market Brewing Company. It's not just us.
Well, I mean, we're the main act.
Yes, we've got some nice guests lined up.
We have very nice guests lined up.
Who do we have lined up?
We have Mark Kurlianchuk,
That's
the
right.
Free Press food critic, restaurant reviewer.
Yes.
And we have Robert Allen, who's the Free Press beer columnist.
So mark your calendar. Follow us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook fan page, and we'll put an event up there. But we would love to have you come out. It doesn't cost anything. Just join us on Monday night, November 12th at Eastern Market Brewing Company. Also, in today's show, we have Bailey Sisoy Iskro of Detroit History Tours, one of our favorites. We also will tell you who the best undiscovered comedian is in Michigan, at least according to Thrillist. Mm-hmm. And there's a number of haunted places in Detroit. How many of these have you been to?
Quite a few, actually.
Really?
But I have not had any ghost encounters.
You haven't seen any ghosts yet?
I have not.
All right, well,
but I'll keep trying.
I want to let you know that you can find everything that we talk about in every episode because we talk about a lot. We really
so much.
Let you know what's going on all over the city of Detroit.
You don't have to take notes.
No,
you can.
No, please don't. Please, that would be hard.
Yeah.
We put them all on the web for you. The website is thedebriefdetroit.com. While you're there, sign up for the email list, and we will send you links to all the things that we talk about. If you are not in front of a computer right now, all you have to do is text the word Detroit to the number 444-999, and you can sign up for the email list that way. And of course, in this show, we're going to get into all of your concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. Stick around.
Welcome to the D
Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
All right, Becky, every show we have a new rotating guest host, somebody who joins us.
Yes.
And this was your pick this week.
Yes.
You lined this up.
Yeah. Brought my girl, Renee Allen.
Hi, everybody.
Well, Renee, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Let's tell everybody what you do. You are a film and television costumer and a wardrobe stylist.
That is correct. I have my dream job.
What is that?
Clothes.
Lots of shopping and clothes.
Yeah, and when you say film and television costumer, people, ooh, and they think it's really glamorous, and I'm here to tell you that it's not.
Why not so much?
Well, actually, I was, that app Time Hop, and it tells you what you've done,
Yes.
through your. Today was 4 years ago. I was packing up thousands of military costumes that we used in the filming of Batman versus Superman. For the funeral scene in a warehouse to ship them back to LA. So it's a very sweaty, organizational based type, lugging things around, wearing a ponytail. I look like crap while I'm working.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say pit stains.
There's a lot of pit stains. Since you brought that up, I'm going to give a tip to your listeners that everybody needs to know. I hope I've already told you this,
I think
Becky.
so.
Okay. So vodka is not just for drinking. Vodka is an antibacterial agent. And so what we do in films all the time is we mix half really, really cheap vodka with water, and we spray it on the pits because and then
Really?
So, yes. So like for instance, speaking of Batman versus Superman, when you're watching a movie, maybe a scene is a minute long, and for us it's 3 days, right? So we have to look exactly the same every day. All the extras, all the actors, and they're wearing the same clothes. And as you know, we're filming for 12 to 18 hours, so we don't have time to wash things and dry things or dry clean things. So we spritz the pits is what we call it.
Really?
Yeah. So everybody I give that tip to, they become obsessed with it. Their teenage boys' stinky gym shoes, their pillows, winter coats.
Yeah, but when it's Ben Affleck's pitch, you must have to use premium vodka for that.
No comment.
You have another business as well. You're
Yeah.
the owner of Retro Girls.
Yes, that's also my dream. It was kind of funny. When I was raising my girls, I really didn't have time. I never completed my college degree. And I went to school and I took a class on marketing. And so we had to do a project, pick your dream company. And we literally did all the work to build your dream company, your mission statement, all of it. And so I'm like, all right. I had done some spokesmodeling for years, auto shows, that sort of thing. And every time I'd get a call for these things, nobody would care what I was wearing to these events. It was appalling to me because I'm obsessed with clothes and vintage things. So I decided to make my own company of spokesmodels. I call them event usherettes because it sounds better. And
Then what? Wait, what do you call it?
Spokesmodels.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody that
does.
models really wants to be called a model.
Right.
It's just weird.
I hate it when people.
I
know.
You've had this experience.
You're so handsome,
yes.
Seth. You guys, listeners, let me tell you right now, I'm sitting across from this man. He needs to be on TV.
Oh, thank
and
you.
Becky's a goddess. You should see these. Look them up online. They're so cute. Anyway, Retro Girls, I just love the 1940s, and I don't know why cigarette girls ever went away. It was such a classy thing. Mm-hmm. And obviously cigarettes are not at all part of my
Right.
business. But, I just love having brilliant, interesting women dressed in super cool clothes, matching, to add like elegance and ambiance to an event. And I hand select the girls and I train them. And it's so fun. The liquid eyeliner and the red lipstick and the hairdos. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. Yeah. And Renee styled me for the Detroit Music Awards.
You were a
and-
fox.
Oh, you were amazing. Like from the
Thanks.
minute we met, it just was like she had this checklist. She was on it. She did shopping that it would have taken me weeks in like 2 hours, and then sent me a list. Go try this stuff on. Pick what you want. And it wasn't ridiculous prices. It was all like stuff on sale.
I'm pretty thrifty.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
awesome, and I felt like $1 million. And you made it so easy and so wonderful.
That's so nice. Thank you.
So you do this for people too. So you got to
Yes.
mention the third arm of your business.
Well, there's so many arms.
Yeah.
I like to help women with that because you kind of, when you're good at something, maybe you don't realize that everybody also isn't.
Right.
And it took me a while to, realize that I'm good at it, self-deprecating as heck. So
we devalue the things that come naturally to us
naturally.
because we assume that they come naturally to everybody.
Everyone.
True.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, after people kind of badgering me, Renee, you could get paid to do this. You could get paid. Really? No, come on, no. So I decided to have another branch, and I do personal wardrobe styling, and it's so fun. And I always make friends with who I'm styling because you get to know them because I'm not putting my taste on them. I kind of can tell what they're like, and I like to dress them in their own skin that they might not be able to realize. And I do it really cheaply. A lot of times I kind of push thrift things on people because I'm really big into reusing things and upcycling and all that. So if somebody needs a black blazer, it's like, well, I know that there's going to be a Tahari blazer at the Goodwill, and I'll go grab that. And
Yeah.
you missed it with vodka? No.
Right. Yeah,
She was on the hunt for me for a vintage Prince T-shirt, but we couldn't get it quite in time for the music awards.
Yeah.
And I love the things you like. She's like, "What is your booty shape? What is the size?"
Wait, back up here. How many different booty shapes are there?
Oh, there's a few. So I mean, she just gets it down. Like everything you put aside for me actually fit, which I thought was wild.
Well, that's why I meet my clients ahead of time. You have to be able to see their shape. And after, I've dressed hundreds, thousands of people, and you know what's going to work and what's not going to work and what's going to flatter. I'm not going to bring you a bunch of things that you're going to feel self-conscious in or not enjoy.
Dumpy or
Yeah.
When I go home now, I'm going to be looking in the mirror and going, what shape is my booty?
We'll give you the list.
The
like
list?
We had
Is
the
there?
descriptors.
Really?
I can't say them all here.
I understand, but I'm fascinated by this. No, but we did see the photos of you at the awards, and I think we put them up on Instagram. They were fantastic. So you did a very good job.
Well, she was an easy client. She was wonderful, and she looked fantastic. I'm so proud.
Well, aside from Becky here, you're also working with other celebrities too, right?
other celebrities.
Yeah. Well, yes. I do. I run across some luck every once in a while. One of my faves recently, I did brag to you, Becky, about this.
Yes.
I was able to help the wardrobe team and help to dress Jack White on his opening night show at the LCA here in Detroit. It was an honor. And I got to touch the coolest clothes.
Nice. What does he wear? What did you dress him in?
The coolest clothes.
Oh, well, and I didn't know. She kind of like threw it into conversation, you know. She's like, I said I went to see Jack White's show. It was like the night before or something.
Right.
She's like, well, what did you think of his polka dot shirt? I'm like, oh my God, it was lovely. How'd you know? It was awesome. And, well, I did that.
Yeah. I actually took a picture of it for my girls, and I'm kind of a weird mom. So I sent them a picture of me smelling the armpit of it after the show. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But it smelled good. It was good. He's a clean dude. But no, he wears a lot of really cool, high-end, kind of quirky clothing, and had a lot of it designed for him. He has a designer and a whole team. And like Vivienne Westwood and stuff that I adore. And what was kind of neat is that, they were embarking on this massive, awesome worldwide tour, and I got to help them prepare and pack it all up for it, and it just warmed my heart. I mean, the wardrobe trunks were being brought in like right at the end of the show. Like, it was really just down to the minute, and it was exciting. And his whole family was there, and the energy backstage was amazing. I'll never forget it.
That's awesome. I've had one experience with Jack White. This is probably about 18, 17 years ago. I was a DJ in Seattle. Yeah, and he was on the White Blood Cells album, I think it was. The first one that broke, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And at the time, he was just wearing, and Meg were just wearing the red and white,
Such a designer, that guy. He's
Yeah,
so
he
smart.
always had the look.
Marketing, yeah.
I asked him about the red and white outfits. And he was so upset that I used the word outfits that he started yelling at me.
Yeah, that's kind of gross, Seth.
What is that pejorative? I didn't.
That's a faux pas. A faux pas.
I like
cool
to think
story.
that I have become a better interviewer since then, and I like to think he's become a better dresser since then.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God, yes, he has. He dresses so cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, Renee, stick around. We're excited to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We're going to get into everything that's going on all around Detroit, starting with we're going to talk to one of our good friends, Bailey Sisoy Iskro, and find out what Harry Houdini has to do with Detroit.
This is the D.
All right, Becky, what's going on in the world of music?
All right, so I know we've talked a lot about Greta Van Fleet, the band from Frankenmuth that's just exploded.
They're so cute.
Yeah. So their full-length album, Anthem of the Peaceful Army, debuted last week. It debuted at #1 on iTunes. Crazy.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
So a party was held in their honor at the Bavarian Inn in Frankenmuth. They weren't there because they're about to embark on a European tour. But it coincidentally was also the 88th birthday of Gretna Van Fleet. Now, I never knew that this is how they got their name.
I heard it from Gary Graff.
Oh, well, see, I do talk to Gary, but he didn't tell me that. So,
Love Gary.
But Gretna was a friend of the original drummer in the band's grandfather.
Oh.
And so their original drummer, that now they have a different drummer, but he proposed it, hey, how about this cool band name? I just love her name.
Wait, they kicked the drummer out, but they kept his
Well, I don't think
grandfather's.
they
dropped the N.
They dropped the N.
That was part of the settlement agreement. That was part of the divorce.
So I don't know what all went down there, but I didn't know that's where the name came from. So I thought that was interesting.
It's cool.
Yeah. And so Gretna was there, and I guess she's not actually a rock fan so much, but she's happy to have them use her name. And she wore a band T-shirt and had a birthday cake in the shape of a piano.
I'm so looking this picture up.
Oh, it's so cute.
How cute.
Yeah, adorable. Mm-hmm. So Kiss coming to town, coming to Detroit. They've got their final tours all set. It's aptly called End of the Road.
Oh, my.
Starting up in January.
They're hanging it up? This is it
They're
for
hanging
Kiss?
it up. Are you disappointed?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think, they probably make all their money selling, high chairs
Apparel
and coffins and they sell branded everything.
Everything. Merch.
And there's a point, I feel like, when people start to look maybe like Mickey Rourke, they want to back out of the spotlight.
Yeah.
They still need the makeup, let's just say.
Yeah.
So Gene Simmons says this tour will have the most explosions, the most hits, and be the loudest yet. So who else does that sound like? But Tickets are on sale if you want to go. They're coming to LCA March 13th.
I'm going to be busy that night.
Yeah. Tickets will be on sale this Friday, November 2nd at 10.
I'm from Oak Park. I don't know if you heard this last week. They actually banned clowns in Oak Park.
I did hear that, but then they reversed it.
Oh. So maybe I do have to see Kiss then.
They banned clowns.
They banned clown costumes,
yes,
but
then they reversed
popular opinion prevailed and said, no, we want clowns.
Please explain the ban.
I guess they have, so I'm a new Oak Park resident, and they have this, like a Halloween event that
it's
they do
a very nice,
here.
like, community event.
Yeah, it's family friendly and everything.
Free.
And they basically said clowns are scary and they scare people, so we're not allowing clowns. And then there was this big social media uproar when it got published.
Community outcry.
Right, and now clowns are, why? Do you have strong feelings about clowns?
Well, back in the day, I was a clown. Not a scary clown, not a rubber nose clown. Pretty cute, tap shoes, a big, huge, like square dancing looking skirt. Pay is awesome, you guys.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Yeah, I needed to feed my children, and I learned how to twist balloons and face paint, do a few songs. I'd had a parachute. Okay, it was cool, right? I was a cool clown.
So you were like going to the parties.
Yeah, I had a polka dotted VW
set.
bug.
Nice.
Yeah, and just hanging out with kids. It was kind of adorable, and I got good money, and they'd feed me. It was cool.
Do you get offended when clowns get smeared by the city of Oak Park?
No. Well, that's kind of like discrimination, so I'm not about that.
Right.
But no, I get it. The clowns are scary, but banning.
I know.
Yeah. Because then you'd also have to go into other things that are scary,
Right.
Exactly.
Like, it's not just clowns.
Where does
Halloween
it end?
is about 50% super scary
stuff. Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well,
it must have been like the mayor's wife or something that
somebody trying to be, I don't know. But
save the clowns.
I tell you, Halloween costumes, a friend of mine, they did the cutest thing. So there's 4 of them, 2 couples, and they dressed as French Kiss. So the double entendre there. So they had the Kiss makeup, but then they wore striped shirts, little red neckerchiefs, and a beret.
Adorable.
So they were French Kiss.
You know how many people are going to do that now?
Yeah, sorry.
Black and white striped shirts available
Sorry,
at
Judy,
your
I
local
just gave away your idea,
store.
but I thought it was one of the best.
That is pretty clever.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got some concert picks for you for this week coming up. Thursday, November 1st, Good Charlotte's at the Fillmore, and Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians at Royal Oak Music Theater.
She's married to Paul Simon, right?
I think so.
They were.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know if they still are.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Wow,
but,
girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday, November 2nd. Okay, you've heard of the 3 tenors. How about the 10 tenors? They're from Australia. And
they should just capitalize 10. They should just
10 or
Oh, see?
10
Yeah, that makes way more sense. That's
Right?
way more clever.
They need you need to be
Call
their
me, guys.
publicist. Yeah. They're coming to the Ford Community and Performing Arts venue there in Dearborn. So apropos, he's a local musician, singer. He's great. I've been turned on to him recently this year, and he's got an album release party coming up. His album's called Versatility. Verse is in parentheses like the verse of a song.
See, that's more along the
that
lines of
makes
what you're
sense,
talking
right?
about.
Yeah, this guy's got it going on.
He has got it going
Right.
on. He has a good manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the release party's at Detroit Wick in Eastern Market there on Gratiot, and it's also a fundraiser. So $20 tickets, all the proceeds are going to the Empty Bowls Detroit
Aw.
Project. So
How cool.
Yeah. So that's on Friday as well. On Saturday, November 3rd, Violent Femmes are at the Majestic.
They're still touring?
They still are.
They're still
I saw them.
alive?
Right?
See, I've never been really a fan, but I know that's
I
kinda,
was 85. Okay. And
Yeah.
I think it was 1985 I saw them. I can't remember where. I had a black mohawk back then. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is pre or post clown?
Way pre. And I think, if I remember correctly, the lead singer passed out on stage or something, and the concert didn't actually.
happen.
Yeah.
That sounds about
I'm
right.
going to have to Google it now that you brought that up. Wow,
Yeah.
good for them still touring.
Good times.
Right.
Sunday, November 4th, Waves. That's Waves, the band with the 2 V's in it. I love them. And Beach Fossils are coming to Deluxe Flux.
Deluxe Flux, love it there.
Wednesday, November 7th, Josh Groban at LCA. And
Wait, do you have a crush on
I
Josh?
do not. I think he's schmaltzy, but a lot of people love him.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he
right?
seems very nice. And then an Andalisi pick, the Drinkard sisters.
I've heard great things about them.
We talked to Anne a couple weeks ago, and she was telling us all about him. And we played a few clips from her interview with them, and they sing. Their voices are amazing.
A lot of people have said that. I wish I could make this show. I love the Willis Show Bar.
Oh yeah, so it's next Wednesday at the Willis Show Bar. Drinkard Sisters and Little Traps, and you're right. The venue is so intimate and cool.
I've wanted to buy
throwback.
that building for like 20 years, so I'm so glad it's reopened. It's beautiful in there.
It is really beautiful.
There's always something cool going on there.
Yep.
All right, coming up in just a few, Jay Leno was just in Detroit, and he bought something. We'll tell you what it is.
This is the Deep
Brief.
All right, every once in a while we like to check in with some of our favorites, and of course one of our favorite historians is Bailey Sissoy Iskro, who runs not only the Detroit History Club, but also Detroit History Tours. If you haven't been on one of these, they're amazing.
Gotta go.
You will learn so much if you do these. Bailey, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, well, we figured Halloween's coming up. We gotta, you must know spooky things that happen in this city,
some
right?
haunted history.
You've got to. And in a city like Detroit, there's a lot to talk about.
Well, let's start with Harry Houdini, because I know that this is one of your favorite topics. I've heard you talk about it on your tours before. What does Harry Houdini have to do with the city of Detroit?
Well, to start, Harry Houdini played Detroit an awful lot of times. In fact, Detroit was one of the most played cities for the magician. And that's simply because we had a really strong middle class. We had a lot of people who could afford those tickets. So as a performer coming to Detroit, he could play a 3 or 4 week engagement and sell out show after show after show. And for obvious reasons, that's attractive instead of one town every 2 or 3 nights. To be able to come to a great city like Detroit and really camp it for a month, playing sold out show after sold out show. And it's here in 1926 that on Halloween afternoon, Harry Houdini dies.
Wow. That's creepy. How did he die?
Well, it was the Canadians' fault.
Oh, of course.
Usually is.
Yeah.
I hear their healthcare sucks.
Like most things. No, that's simplifying it a little too bit. But Harry Houdini kind of had this trick where back from his vaudeville days, he would let the strongest man in the audience punch him in the stomach. And it was a trick, but it was also a skill. He'd built up his abdominal muscles to sort of withstand that punch. So even though at this point in his career in 1926, he's really doing a whole different set of things and debunking mystics and fortune tellers, people still, want the classics. They're still calling out for their favorite tricks. And when a collegiate boxer up in Canada comes up alongside Harry Houdini and says, Mr. Houdini, is it true you can take a punch from any man? And then wallops him one right in the side before Houdini could prep, before he was ready, and really kind of catches him up under the rib cage. He makes his way to Detroit, to Michigan by train. And when he gets here, he's running a temperature over 100 degrees. His abdomen is so swollen that his wife has to put a ribbon through the buttonholes and loop them over the buttons just to keep his pants up so that he can take the stage of the Garrick Theater. And halfway through the performance, he passes out. His stage hands revive him with smelling salts. Following the end of the performance, his very last one ever, on October 26th, he's raced to the hospital. It's Old Grace Hospital. He's admitted to room 401. And it's sort of there that he fights this burst appendix. In the end, his cause of death is listed as petronesis with a secondary cause with this burst appendix. But he effectively goes septic from having this punch rupture his internal organs. And after many days of fighting this, he succumbs at about 1:30 in the afternoon on Halloween. And his last words are still reported to be either, "I'm tired of fighting," or "I have no more fight left." When he dies, the world's shocked. I mean, magic had died in the Motor City. Harry Houdini was dead in Detroit. He was only 52. He was one of the most famous men in the world. And it's at the W.R. Hamilton Funeral Home here in Detroit that they prepare his body and send it via the Michigan Central Station, what most people call the Detroit train station, out to New York to be buried at New York's Woodlawn Cemetery alongside his mother.
Wow.
Yeah. And isn't it true his wife held seances here for years on Halloween?
Yes, Becky. Like 13 years after he died, she came back every year on Halloween and would hold these seances. And what What her and Harry had done, Bess and Harry were a love match. They adored each other, and they were incredibly devoted. When Harry's mother died, who both of them were close to, they felt like they had been preyed on by these people who were saying they could contact them, give them that last chance to say goodbye. So the two of them, Bess and Harry, developed a code, a 9-digit code, and a code word that was only known to the two of them and has been lost to time. And the deal was whoever died first would do everything they could to come back from the dead and contact the other. And as sort of a gate check on people who might be scamming them, unless that psychic or that mystic was able to give this 9-digit code or this code word, they would know it wasn't true.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to set that
Crazy.
up. Do you have a code word with you?
I need to set one.
I'm going to get one.
I'm going to get one now, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Thinking of what it might be.
Wow. So did she ever hear the code word? Did it happen? Nothing?
No.
Nothing. That final year, after 13 years of holding seances at Old Grace Hospital, which was torn down. Now that's where like the DMC sort of stands. After 13 years, she said, after 13 tries and 13 expeditions beyond the pale, if any man would come back, it would be Harry Houdini. If he hasn't, no one can do it.
Good point.
And she gave up.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
has anybody else ever reported, to your knowledge, the ghost of Harry Houdini floating around?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh.
You know,
Really?
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, who hasn't?
it's big
Like,
money to
especially
have
in
a ghost.
Detroit. Yeah.
It's like
Big
Hoffa's
money to have
body
a ghost.
keeps coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No one's ever come up with that 9-digit code, though, so I'm not buying.
Wow. And does anybody know it, or was that lost to time? I mean, it's gone because only she had it.
Yeah.
Yep, it is gone. So I guess we wouldn't know even if they did. But no one's ever reported being contacted with a strange, 9-digit number from the beyond.
Wow. That's freaky.
Fascinating.
All right, I want to ask about something else, and I know Becky doesn't like to talk about this because this is the negative side of Detroit, and I know I know it's mostly gone at this point, right?
Okay.
But one of the things, I am newer to Detroit. I've only been here for a couple of years, and one of the few things that I had heard about Detroit before I came here was, of course,
The fires on Devil's Night.
and what that was all about. Can you, Bailey, put that in some historical perspective?
Yeah, so Devil's Night really is something that it's considered Midwestern, but it very much has its roots in Detroit. And it traces back to the late 1930s, early 1940s, when it was things like egging houses or toilet papering trees. A really common Devil's Night activity in the early 40s was taking baskets of rotten vegetables and leaving them on front porches.
Ooh,
I
scary.
mean, things that
That's so mean.
maybe not
Compost.
maybe
Ooh.
not terrible, maybe not something you would consider awful behavior, but certainly mischievous. Soaping windows, egging houses, that sort of thing. By the 70s, though, it had shifted over to what we all know as the arson nights. The nights when the Detroit Fire Department and the Detroit Police Department would be run ragged, putting out hundreds and hundreds of arson set fires a year. And then in 1994, a citywide initiative began. Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck all took part that tried to change Devil's Night to Angel's Night. And it was big groups of volunteers out in bright colored shirts, just being vigilant, being aware, phoning the police, phoning the fire department. And since then, we've seen a pretty dramatic decline in Devil's Night activities, but from something that really started as sort of the prank night where the teenagers would run around and do not nice things, but not incredibly damaging things, to being at one point in the 90s, the early 90s, there were estimates of over $5 million worth of damage done on Devil's Night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got, it really made the national consciousness. It was something that sort of you'd see it show up in music and in movies.
Yeah.
There's a great reference to it. Minnie Driver in Grosse Pointe Blank. Have you seen the movie?
Yes. Yeah.
So Minnie Driver in Grosse Pointe Blank, when she's explaining why she's living with her dad, she says, "Oh, my apartment burned on Devil's Night."
Yeah.
And it was like this Easter egg for the Detroiters who all understood Devil's Night, and for everybody else, it was like, what?
What is she talking about?
We would always tune in on the next day to the news to see what happened on Devil's Night.
Wow.
Oh, sure.
How many fires?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even though it was started as something that was the entire Midwest, the fires were just here in Detroit, right?
Yep. It was really centered here. And I mean, I remember growing up where people would try to stay home that night because they
definitely.
wanted to be
Absolutely.
home if, God forbid, anything happened.
Vigilantly watching
Yes,
everything. Setting out
definitely.
extra lights. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. All the porch lights on kind of
Yep.
night.
Huh. So,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad I missed that.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And the good news is it's way better now.
Yeah.
Drastically
so much,
is right.
so much
Yeah.
better.
All right. Well, that's good because I own a home now. I bought one earlier this year, so I'm glad to hear that. Speaking of which, I am excited. This is the first year that I am giving out candy at my house. This is pretty much the whole reason I bought a house. It's because I wanted to give out candy, and I wanted to. I mean, I spent more money than I should have.
Yeah.
You know, with
It's our first year living in the city limits of Detroit. We live in Detroit for the first time. This is our
Nice.
first Halloween, and we're going to hand out organic candy.
I'll bet your costume is amazing. What are you dressing up as? Are you,
Actually, we just won a Halloween contest. We were a voodoo priest and priestess.
awesome.
It's pretty simple.
You looked great.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should send us a photo.
Oh,
We'd love
well
to
done.
post
Yeah,
to
we'll put it
Instagram.
on our Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thanks. Yeah, I was pretty proud.
So let me ask: is there any Detroit-made candy that we should be passing out at our house this year?
Well, you can never go wrong with anything Sanders.
Exactly. Sanders.
Sanders is always a win. You know, back in the day, we had a lot of candy companies here in Detroit. We had Boggs, we had Sanders, and some of them were actually breweries and distilleries that had to switch over during Prohibition to making a legal treat. Famously, Stroh's went to making ice cream when it could no longer make beer, even though it kind of still made beer. So in my neighborhood, it's pretty common to see candy getting handed to the kids, and the dads sort of make eye contact and hand each other beers.
Yes.
Nice.
It used to be like Jello shots
yeah.
in my neighborhood.
Oh, fun. There's also, bags of Better Made potato chips. Better Made for Halloween comes out with a Halloween mini bag.
My girlfriend was saying this, and
that's what I'm giving out at my house.
I'd never
potato
heard
chips.
of that. She said she'd be
really?
giving away potato chips.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yeah, no,
oh, that's
I've never heard of that.
Always have had chips.
Yeah.
Always, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
then
we
you had
eat
to
more
fight to
chips
keep them
in
on top in
Detroit.
the pillowcase so your candy didn't crush them.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And we eat more potato chips in Detroit than anywhere else in the country. So,
I wouldn't doubt that.
yeah, it's like,
I was going to say
Something to be
I believe
proud
it.
of.
I believe it.
yeah.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, Bailey, thank you so much for checking in. Of course, people can check out Detroit History Tours. The website is DetroitHistoryTours.com and DetroitHistoryClub.com. And you've got a scavenger hunt coming up next month as well, right?
Yes, thanks for asking. November 17th, it's going to go Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck. It's going to be an absolute blast, and you can find out all about the scavenger hunt at DetroitHistoryClub.com. And you guys are going to be there.
Yes.
We're super excited. Yeah,
We will.
people can get extra points by visiting us there.
Yeah. So come by and say hello.
Have fun.
All right. Thanks, Bailey. Thanks for checking in. We appreciate you giving us a call.
Thanks again. I'll see you guys soon.
Happy Halloween.
Bye, Bailey.
Keep up with us. Download our mobile app.
The D3.
Becky, let's talk about some of the things that are happening around town.
Yeah, so the Detroit Historical Museum has a special viewing of a documentary coming up. So November 10th and 11th at 3 p.m. each day, there's a 45-minute doc called The Hudson's Building Film. So it actually was made in 1997. So it talks all about the history of Hudson's department store and then what it kind of went through after it was abandoned in 1983, after being, the largest tallest department store in the world and the second largest overall in the U.S. in terms of square footage. It was like 32 floors. So it talks all about that and then how it was abandoned in 83 when everyone's leaving the city and no one's shopping anymore.
Yeah.
And the eventual decision was to level it. But this movie ended the year before it was leveled.
I've seen
So it's
this
kind of
film.
cool to look back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can catch that November 10th and 11th. Again, like the building was torn down, as we all know, and that was in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, coincidentally, the year I started working for the Hudson family for their philanthropic foundation.
But not in the building.
No. No.
You ever been in the building?
No, my grandmother was the head seamstress there back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this clothing
She must
thing
have stories.
runs in the family.
It does. We all like to sew and wear clothes, yes.
We all like to wear clothes.
Right. I wish I could have
sewing.
been in there. I never entered that building.
No, I didn't either.
Wait, back up. If you brought a nudist home and told your parents you wanted to marry them, would that be a problem?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would dress every nudist right away.
That'd be a deal breaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the timing of this is really interesting because Bedrock just released, I think it was just even today, the new renderings for the building that's going on that old
So
Hudson
exciting.
site. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is Dan Gilbert's, modern skyscraper. It's going to be the tallest building, and they've been working on that site, basically just digging up the old parking garage and stuff underneath. But it's pretty fascinating to see. So the changes to the drawings are pretty dramatic. It was going to be 800 feet tall. Now it's going to be 912 feet. And it's a step design. Before it was kind of just a flat tower now, and you can look online and see these all over, but it's more aesthetically pleasing and interesting.
Cool.
And instead of 1 million square feet, it's going to be 1.424 million square feet.
I sort of wonder if the drawing was just sitting there on the table and just everybody who passed it just went, took a pencil and went,
Added something else.
Let's put another floor on that.
And they've
got
added
bigger.
a hotel too, a whole
amazing.
other business in there. So,
Well, all eyes are on Detroit.
oh my gosh, yeah.
And this building has to kill it.
It has to
and
kill
maybe
it.
they just had a it has to kill it meeting, and they just scrapped
That's
it.
what
and
it
redid
sounds like.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of architects making a lot of money right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's going to be beautiful. I'm really excited.
Well, so how are we going to move all around there? Scooters, they've just been taken off.
I love
Continuing
scooters.
to grow. So
Yeah.
So you've been on them.
Yeah, I never did it as a child, but here I am, 49. My fiance and I went down to Atlanta, and they're all the rage down there. They have sort of like a DeQuinder cut type of a thing
yeah.
down there called the Belt, and we rode them up and down that, and I'm all about it.
Yeah,
yeah.
You got the bug.
Yeah, I have a Lime app on my phone, and you just hop on, and it's a little cold now.
Yeah.
Like I live near Palmer Park, and you see them scattered around, and I've been wanting to hop on one lately because I haven't ridden them in Detroit yet,
okay.
but it's just too cold.
Right.
That's the
right.
one, drawback.
I use them in Austin, and I like them too, but you also got the feeling that the cities were not obviously built with these in mind and
Oh, sure.
may not be 100%
Yeah,
ready.
I think even like in San Francisco, they've started to ban them because
Yeah.
so many accidents have. But that's where it's great in Detroit. We got wide roads. We got
Yeah.
all kinds of space. So
We're
Mayor,
already paying $1 million for insurance anyway. This is going to be covered.
Well, honestly, we just need more forms of transportation.
exactly. We need mobility.
Yeah, and
so,
a really good, if I could interject, scooters, the Lime and the Bird are great too. But have you heard about the Vespa pop-up?
Yes, in
at
the Fisher
Peacock?
Building.
Yeah, right in front of the Peacock Room. I hope so many people buy Vespas because then that's less cars on the road, cool-looking Vespas everywhere.
well, the one drawback was everybody's kind of embracing these scooters, but
Yeah.
Mayor Mike Duggan just spoke about this. Like, that's fine. We can have more, but they need to be in the neighborhoods. Let's include everyone. Let's give options for everybody.
Yeah.
So it was just announced that there's an increase coming, 200 more scooters coming.
That's
100 more
awesome.
for Lime and 100 more for Bird.
But it's
they
just about
have
to snow.
they have to place them in the neighborhoods.
Yeah,
So-
I'll tell you that they have been all over my neighborhood this past week.
Okay, good.
I
It's
hadn't
working.
seen them before, and now they're just lined up.
It's a new thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I live right by the Livernois, 7 Mile, like by Baker's Keyboard
Avenue of
Lounge.
Fashion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been seeing them all over now this week. So yay.
Yeah, so
Good move,
it's
Mike.
taken off. But yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to be used in the winter.
I know.
And so far, there's been very few injuries.
Good.
And very few complaints.
Try them, people. Try them.
Yeah, so hopefully the ice won't complicate things. But
Well, what I was surprised to hear is that the Mogo bikes, that they are open all year.
And they have a winter version with
Oh,
it's a blue bike. It's to encourage. It's got the thicker tires. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was like a whole different version of bike.
I guess
but
there are some. Yeah.
I was surprised when they said that, they do business year round.
Yep. Yep. So I don't know if Jay Leno's going to hop on the bikes or the Mogos, but he was in town for a Make-A-Wish fundraiser. It's called the Wish Ball. A friend of mine is on the board there, and it's just a wonderful event. He came to town to kind of host the whole thing.
Cool.
And apparently he loves John King books. He comes every time. He's been coming since the 80s to Detroit, and he stopped in there, and he bought a old Corvette repair manual at John King Books that he couldn't find anywhere else.
Right?
So.
I think he's longtime friends with Mark Ridley from Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, because I know a few months back, him and Tim Allen was in town as well, and Tim Allen obviously came from here, and there were photos of them that popped up online.
Okay,
just hanging out.
Yeah, cool. So of course we got to talk about haunted stuff, right? We're talking about Halloween and everything surrounding the holidays. So there's tons of haunted places in Detroit. If you don't know,
they say.
Yeah, you can find so much information. So you can go down this rabbit hole of ghosts in Detroit. But just a few places are the Whitney, historic Fort Wayne.
Wait, back up. The Whitney, I've seen the photos. Have you seen where they show you?
Oh yeah, they'll show you when you go to tea or dinner.
And
there,
they give cool tours there too.
They do ghost tours.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I want to, but I don't.
Do you?
I really don't. But I feel like people are legit in what they see and say, but I don't know that it's actually a ghost, or more so what your imagination creates that you want to see or feel.
My girlfriend believes in ghosts. She says she's seen one when she was a kid. Her daughters believe in ghosts, and her daughter actually said to her at one point, she's like, "How can you date a guy who doesn't believe in ghosts?"
that was her, like Renee's would be the nudist.
Yes, that would be
you
right.
need to dress as a ghost for Halloween.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I saw the photos of the Whitney, and it's hard to
They're
explain.
definitely compelling.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, who are we to say? We use a speck of our brains.
Exactly.
We don't know what's going on.
I really have no idea.
Right.
But and I do believe when someone you love has passed away, it can be really comforting to think that they're coming back and talking to you. But Masonic Temple is super haunted.
Heck yeah. If any place is going to be, it's going to be there, right?
So much has gone on there. And the whole thing with the architect killed himself, jumped off that building. So... yeah. The Majestic Theater, Easter Market. You guys know that's haunted. It's built on an old cemetery and a Native American burial ground.
Wait.
For real?
Easter Market is like a Stephen King blot?
Yep. Ooh. And also the Thornapple Valley Slaughterhouse building that's there is supposedly tremendously haunted.
With the ghosts of the poor little animals.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
The two-way in.
Like Wilbur's coming back to haunt you?
Yeah. She's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
The two-way in, Detroit's oldest bar. Elmwood Cemetery, of course, if you've ever gone through there. So you feel it.
This is the D3.
All right, Becky, Renee, I want to talk about something that I saw this week that excited me. And of course,
just one thing?
Well, actually a couple.
Okay.
Because there were some stand-up comedy shows.
That's your thing.
News. Yeah, and that's, I'm a big stand-up comedy fan.
Yeah.
First of all, Thrillist, you know the website?
Sure, yeah.
They do these lists every so
All the
often.
time,
They're always like, oh, here's the best
of this.
whatever in every state.
Gets a lot of hits.
Yes.
Clickbait.
Yes.
Right? But they put together a list of the best undiscovered comedians in every single state. And the name on the list, well, I've already discovered it,
let's
right?
Just
Let's say I've called it. We've talked about this guy before. Josh Adams, who is one of the Motown Laugh Kings, which is
with Jeff Horst.
With Jeff Horst, a little comedy clique. Yeah. They performed. I saw them perform as part of the Motor City Comedy Festival this
I
year.
have to check him out.
This guy,
he's hilarious.
Yeah, he is really, really funny.
Cool.
And it's nice to see him getting some
on a
recognition.
national list.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I have no idea how they put this list together, because you want to go through and you want to be really skeptical. And when I saw that, I was like,
They know
that's
their
legit. And they didn't ask you? They didn't get that from you?
They didn't. That's probably who I would have said.
Yeah.
Another very funny comedian. This is a guy named Dave Landau. He was on Last Comic Standing.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, I've seen him the last couple of years as he performs every Valentine's Day at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. We're trying to get him on the show. The problem is
his schedule.
Yeah, he's in New York a lot because he's doing this podcast with Anthony from the Opie and Anthony show, and so it's hard to get him here at the same time.
We should just
keep begging.
Let's just fly to New York.
We could do that. I guess
We got to start
have the funding,
touring,
right?
Yeah, we have so much funding.
It's that night grant that we just got.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dave Landau made a film back in 2014. It was called The King, and it's a dark comedy about getting your first car. It's kind of like American Graffiti.
Oh
And I don't know what happens. I think they take the car and they wind up in the wrong neighborhood in Detroit or whatever.
Okay.
But it featured a bunch of local comedians: Bill Bouchard, Norm Stoltz, Connie Ettinger, Robert Jenkins. Bill, for example, has already been on the podcast here. He teaches the comedy classes over at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle.
Nice.
And so a bunch of local people in there, and they made this film, and they've been trying to do something with it ever since. It has now been picked up for distribution by Amazon.
Yay! That is so cool.
Yeah.
So
That's great for them.
Yeah, it really
Good.
is. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it. They changed the title. It's The King in Detroit now. So,
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
The
So go check it out. But I love to see local guys.
Heck yeah.
I did a podcast about Detroiters for
Which I
before
worked
we did
on
this.
as a customer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What
Tim
did you
and
do?
Sam are the bomb. Dressing clothes.
Tim and Sam, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
not Tim and Sam. I dressed the other actors that would come in for each scene. It was really great. And they are so dedicated to using local people. And don't you just love the show how they mention all of our favorite places?
All the
yeah.
commercials.
I mean,
They're such cool guys.
When we called the podcast Detroit versus Detroiters, and it was me and another local stand-up comedian named Mike Jeter
I'm
who
going to
did this podcast.
I'm going to look this up and listen to it.
Well, I'm not from Detroit. I've been here about 3 years.
Right.
And that show was so jam-packed full of Detroit references
I bet.
that our podcast kind of became like this decoder ring, of like, it'd be like, hey, here, Seth, let me explain what,
You
better
learned a
made
lot
potato
that
chips
day.
are, right?
Yes.
And it became my crash course in Detroit.
Yeah.
So I owe it all to Tim and Sam.
They're the coolest. It's a fun show. It's one of the most entertaining things I've ever done. I'd never worked on a comedy before, and just listening to them in between, like when they yell cut, they don't stop.
Well, they're improv guys.
They're the best actual buddies together. Their interactions are adorable, and they also play Pokemon Go.
Oh my gosh! Just during the show.
Yes.
Okay. Funny.
That's awesome.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D. Breathe.
All right, before we get out of here, let's do a couple of shout-outs. Becky, anybody you want to shout out this week?
Well, I had a fantastic dinner at Frame with my husband and a couple of friends. So Frame basically hosts rotating chefs, and this is a particular chef that's well known to them, Brad Greenhill, who does Takoy. And Frame was kind of Takoy's home for a little bit after Katoy burned.
Yeah.
But he's got a new restaurant coming called Magnet.
Exciting.
That's going to be in Core City, Detroit. And so to kind of test it out, he's been cooking at Frame. So it's a plant-centric kind of thing, but like vegetables in the most amazing way. And like they'll roast
all about it.
a cabbage, and it tastes like the most amazing thing you've ever had. And they had their own hummus and all these seasonings on eggplant and carrots, and it was way
I'm
more.
drooling now, Becky, thank
it was
you.
way more than you could even eat. But it was so
Cool.
cool to see vegetables elevated and treated as something really awesome. Now they're not meat free. Like then we had this giant plate of like shredded lamb also that was good, but it was wonderful. And the dessert was a chocolate milkshake.
Hello.
Nice.
So I'm so excited. So that's at Frame, and they have one more weekend coming up right after Thanksgiving, so you can catch it if you have a chance.
Ooh, I'm looking that up.
What about you, Renee? Anybody you want to shout out this
I'm
week?
obsessed, yes. I'm obsessed with Castalia, the cocktail bar. That's also Sfumato, the perfumery.
We've been there. We interviewed them a while back.
Oh my gosh, those people are amazing.
They are amazing. When we interviewed them, they made us a whole big round of cocktails. And
Can I
it's
call Kevin a nerd, like on the air? Is
in the
that okay?
best way?
Yeah, and like I call him a sorcerer too. Like to be so good at combining flavors and scents. He's a sorcerer for sure. Take your mate there for a date. It's the
Absolutely.
best place. Yeah.
That's a great place. I want to give a shout out once again to the folks over at Stacking Benjamins.
Yes.
Joe, who invited us to be part of this show at Go Comedy, and also to compliment him because they ran a tight ship. I mean,
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, it was impressive. Shannon
dudes.
Kaysen, the storyteller, was there as well. You're going to hear that episode on Thursday, at least what we did. We interviewed
Our portion.
Yes, Tommy Leroy of Go Comedy. He's one of the founders of that improv theater, and we talked to him all about Go Comedy and got the
That was
history
fun.
there. Yeah, it was cool. We're going to do that. And of course, we're going to do it again on November 12th. We're going to be at the Eastern Market Brewing Company, where we're going to be there with Mark Kurlianchik
and Robert Allen,
Yeah.
and we'll be tasting some beer and just having a good time.
Please come out and join
Please
us.
come.
It's our first live show.
Don't leave us alone there.
We don't want to be the only ones there. It'd be embarrassing. Thank you as well to Bailey Sisoy Iskro, Show, for calling in and telling us all about Harry Houdini
awesome.
and Devil's Night. She is, right?
Yeah,
That's
she
why
is.
we have her back so often. And of course, we have a mobile app, so go check it out. You can download it for your Android or for your iPhone, or if you prefer to listen to us on your Amazon Echo, all you have to do is say, Alexa,
enable the Debrief podcast.
all right, Renee, you going to come back for us again tomorrow? Hang out with us?
Sure. You want a back massage?
Yeah, yes.
In
Absolutely.
fact,
I
I
have
do.
to assess your booty shape, right?
Right.
All right, until then, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.